Hey, what is up, spiritual hooligan? Are you ready to activate fearless living? I mean, what if worry, doubt, and stress were non-existent in your life? What becomes possible? Well, today I've got 8 keys to fearless living, and we're going to talk about the 4th in a series of daily enlightenments that are going to help you to connect with enlightened perspectives. And when you do that, you're on your way to living fearlessly, okay? So check it out. This is a whole series that we do in my mastermind group, and I thought, who better to share it with than you? So my name is Matthew Ferry, and I'm bringing you your daily enlightenment. And it's your moment to pause, to slow down, to get connected to enlightened perspectives. I want to help you to quiet your mind and restore your peace. Now, fearless living is an expression of an enlightened state. And I know you've been hearing me talk about this now. This is the 4th time that I've said it, but I want you to understand that the dictionary says enlightened is having or showing a rational, modern, well-informed outlook, spiritually aware. Do you see that that is distinct from what we think of as enlightenment? We have this old model, but it is about having or showing a rational, modern, well-informed outlook. Now, in my world, you are able to achieve that when you recognize that the source of life for you is the source of life for everyone and everything, that we're all one thing expressing itself with infinite variety. Because when you know that, your mind goes quiet. And when your mind goes quiet, you enter into a state of all is well, and a context that all is well. And that state is absent of fear, which means that you are more rational and pragmatic, and you can see things that other people don't see. This is really, really powerful. So there are 8 keys to fearless living from an enlightened perspective, and they are developing your knowing, being committed versus attached, creating alignment, shifting your being, fearless speaking, creating structure, restoring integrity, and fearless action. Now today, we're going to work on shifting your being. Shifting your being. We want to get you on the path to fearless living. So, fearless living is actually an aspect of being. So think about being in this way. Being is your essential nature. It's your perspective. Who you are being is actually who you are in relationship to something. That's your being. Who you're being is who you are in relationship to whatever it is that you're experiencing in life. So enlightenment is a context that influences who you're being, your relationship to the world. Do you get that? It's your context. How you're viewing the situation, your context, influences everything that you do, everything you see, everything you are, and all the actions that you take. So I just want you to think about a time in your life where things weren't working for you. Who were you being? Like, what was your essential nature at that time? When things weren't working for you, what was your relationship to the situation? What was your essential nature? What was your perspective? What was your attitude? What kind of person were you being at that time? Then I want you to think about a time when you were on a roll. Everything was working. Who were you being then? What was your essential nature at that time? What was your perspective about life and about the situation, your attitude? What kind of person were you? So think about it in this way. When you're being fearless, you don't need to get motivated to take action. When you're fearless, you're just taking action. Who you're being determines what actions you'll take. And your being is affected by your context. Your context is your relationship to the situation. So when you know that you're infinite, that you don't need anything, that life is perfect exactly as it is, it massively shifts who you're being. When you know you're infinite, you don't need to get motivated to do anything. When you practice the enlightened perspectives in my book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life, there's 35 of them in chapter 9 that you should be checking out. Inspiration just takes over. So if you have the book, Quiet Mind, Epic Life, let me show you a copy right here. If you have the book, then you should just read those contextualizations over and over and over and over. And what will happen is inspiration will start to bubble up, because when you're inspired, you don't need to get motivated. If you feel overwhelmed, is there really anything you can do to get motivated? No. So here's the question I have for you. What do you want? Where are you going? What's coming through you? What are the ideas that you have that are going to have you live what I call enlightened prosperity? So enlightenment is this context that all is well, and prosperity is just simply doing well. It's not money. It's actually how you're doing. How are you doing? Right? When people ask that question, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I'm appreciating, enjoying. I'm having a good life. That doesn't have anything to do with money per se. That has to do with your attitude, your perspective, the way that you're operating as a human being. So what do you want? Where are you going? What is the doing well for you? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't even have to be important. Just allow your inspiration to flow through you, because if you are inspired, guess what? Things just work. Energy just happens. Movement just occurs. Action is taken. And if you aren't inspired, the thing to do is just connect with enlightened perspectives and just practice the perspective that you are infinite. Now, who you're being influences the way you do things. For example, if you're being cautious, then you influence your actions with very subtle fear. And fear is destructive. It'll degrade you and cause you to malfunction. If you're being joyous, then you influence your actions with powerful constructive energy. Joy is constructive, and it will make you more creative and resourceful. Are you being strong, or are you being weak? Go watch my YouTube playlist that I created called Muscle Testing Enlightened Perspectives. I'll put the link down below, but I think you'll find it fascinating that ideas that intuitively you know are uplifting, they also strengthen your body. And in ideas that you intuitively know are degrading, they also weaken your body. But I take it a step farther, because there's stuff that you believe that you can't prove, that you think is uplifting, but when you put it to the test, it actually weakens you. And when you're weak, you go into a survival state, and when you go into a survival state, forget about it. So are you expressing degrading perspectives or constructive perspectives? So here's some constructive ways of being, okay? This is what you want to know. It's so simple. It feels good, right? Expecting, appreciating, honoring, enjoying. The idea that this is perfect. I'm learning. Having a context that says, I'm just an expression of the universe. So I'm going to take the actions, but ultimately the results are, they're all these things coming together, and I'm gonna do my best to influence them, but it's not just all me. And if it doesn't work, it's not that I'm a failure. It's just that it didn't work. You could also take on destructive ways of being. You know it because they feel bad, right? Skeptical, stressed out, frustrated, cynical, forcing, uncertain, not trusting the perfection of it all. The conditions that create destructive ways of being live inside of your habits. So I'm wondering, what are some of the habits that you know are destructive that you can begin to transform? They're also in your social conditioning, your unexamined beliefs, unexamined programs. There's a lot of inaccurate information that you have that allows you to be physically degraded, but you keep believing it. Some of the destructive ways of operating is just letting your mind wander and not focusing the mind as a tool, allowing negative influences to come in. The question is, what are you committed to? Who are you committed to being? What is the experience that you want? What is the most constructive way of being for you? So that's my question to you today. What stuck out in this conversation? What shifts in your way of being are you going to work on today to be the person that you want to be so that you can activate your fearless living? I want you to leave me a comment below what you're going to be working on and thinking about. My name is Matthew Ferry, author of Quiet Mind, Epic Life, and it would mean a lot if you would like this daily enlightenment, if you would share it, if you would make a comment. One of those three actions or all three of those actions really mean a lot. They mean a lot to me, and they mean a lot to the platforms that the Daily Enlightenment goes out on, because it tells these platforms that this is something that they should also spread. Subscribe to my channel. I put out a new Daily Enlightenment every day. And also come join us over on Facebook in the Spiritual Hooligans Facebook group. All right? I'll put the link down below. Thanks again for tuning in to this Daily Enlightenment.